Hey, what's up, guys? Angel Perfect TV Killer back with another action figure review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Incredible Hulk series Abomination, and I'm excited to open this guy up. But before we get into that, I just really love how the packaging looks. With me being a big Hulk fan and all, I'm so glad we're getting a Incredible Hulk series. I can't wait to see what else they'll bring out. We got the Abomination, and now we got the Professor Hulk coming out, which looks extremely sick. Just like the Abomination here, looks amazing. But I also love how they're bringing back the old Hulk classic line themed packaging back. I love how they're doing that. That's awesome. Love how Hulk's going through the brick wall. Got the Incredible Hulk right there. And then on the top, you see that nice art of the old classic, like, Hulk's eyes looking back at you. Got the Incredible Hulk right there in the middle as well. And then on the side, we got some great art here of the Abomination right there, looking straight menacing. Love that. On the back, we see the picture of the figure itself posed right there, looking cool. And then we have a whole, if you want to read on the Abomination, you can pause and read that. You got it in different languages right there. And then in the other side, same thing like the other. A cool, sick picture of the Abomination right there. But yeah, with that said about the package, let's get the Abomination out of it. And here we have the Abomination looking great outside of the package. I'm not gonna lie, like, personally, I love how this Abomination looks so far. I mean, the sculpt looks great. The paint apps on this guy looks great. We're gonna get deeper look into that. I know there's a lot of heat going towards this figure right now. Just mainly because they are reusing an old body mold they've used before. For the Abomination from the Avengers game, they are reusing that body mold. I mean, personally, the body's not horrible. I've never disliked the body. I mean, it has a lot of amazing sculpt going throughout the figure. The head sculpt was horrible. I hated the Avengers face sculpt. That's for sure. But I am 50-50. It has been a while. I mean, they only used this body once, and that was for that figure, which is not horrible. It's not like they've reused this figure many, many times with this body, by the way. But it has been a while. They could have used a whole different new sculpt for the Abomination here, since he is getting, he was re-released in this Incredible Hulk series line. But it's not a horrible body per se. It has good sculpt. The articulation's not horrible. I got some butterfly joints in there, so it's not horrible. But they could have used the whole body, but at the same time, I'm not completely angry with it. It's not a bad body mold, to be honest, in my opinion, of course. But with that said, I mean, let's look at the positives here. I mean, the paint on this guy doesn't look horrible. We got the lighter greens going towards the middle of the chest and abs right there. I'm gonna talk about this later. Has kind of rubbed off some plastic there on my figure, which I'm really a little irritated about, but I'll explain it more later how that happened. But yeah, throughout the figure, got some nice, the sculpt looks nice, the detail on the skin, we got the lumps going throughout his body. It's not, horrible looking, looks nice. We go to the arms, we got some of that mixed light greens with the darker greens right there, which isn't horrible. We see that on the shoulders as well. The head sculpt on this guy, by the way, looks really, really nice. I am liking the head sculpts on this Abomination so much more than any other Abominations they've released from Hasbro. We go to the back. I mean, we have more of that lighter green going throughout the spikes on his back there, which is really nice. We go to the pants. We got the obviously we got the Avenger styled ripped pants, but it's not so, it doesn't look awful, on a classic representation of the Abomination. I mean, it fits him well, ripped pants for him, just like the Hulk. But in his case, he has blue pants, which is not bad. If you can see closer, we have some darker shading going throughout the pants here, which is, you know, not bad. We don't see a lot of shading going throughout a lot of pants for other figures from Hasbro, so that's nice. We see some of the more, we see more lumps. They got some of that lighter greens in there. We go to the feet, nicely painted right there, not bad. But yeah, I mean, the figure here is nicely sculpted and painted. Doesn't look bad at all. Looking really, really nice. And let's get a closer look on that head sculpt, by the way. Looks really badass. Sculpted really nice there. The eyes there looks nice. Not bad. Got those yellow eyes right there. See the ears, nicely sculpted. Really, really like that right there. Nicely sculpted, man. Not bad, not bad at all. But yeah, I mean, let's go through. Yo, my bad for that random cut. So much noise popped in the background, I had to cut that shit. But yeah, like I was saying, I mean, the sculpt on this guy, the paint on this guy looks great. The head sculpt looks good. I mean, the teeth on this guy looks menacing and nice. The inside of the mouth is painted, so that's cool. But yeah, like I was saying, paint, sculpt on this guy, not bad so far. I mean, with that said, let's get to the articulation on this guy. I mean, the head, start with the head. The head does go that far up, not too crazy. I mean, when you have his body facing up, he does look up a whole lot more, so it's not a bad range. He does look down, you know, left and right and all the way around. And I just want to say, the way, let me take this head off so you guys know what I'm talking about. The way they have his head sculpted inside in here for to put in the ball pin, like, I love how they did it for the Abomination, because the way they sculpted it just gave the Abomination so much head movement that it can, you know, do tilts and all that. You can do a lot of good head movement. So I really do like that. So that's nice from Hasbro right there. But yeah, his arms, he does got those butterfly joints like I mentioned in the beginning of the video. I mean, it does go back a decent amount, especially for how big the Abomination is. So that's, you know, that's decent enough right there. I mean, it doesn't go forward, you know, basically anything, just mostly back. His arms does go up barely because of the spikes, unfortunately. But you could mess around, you know, the bicep here is a floating piece, so you can just, you know, put the bicep down, put the arm back like that, and just mess around a little bit, and then voila, there you go. You can have his arms, you know, a bit more higher than, you know, usual if you want. So you just have to mess around with it. But yeah, originally that's how far it would go. He does swivel on the elbow here, and he does have the single jointed elbows. It does have some nice range into them, which is not bad. And he does swivel on the wrist and bends back and forward. And he does have the diaphragm cut. Now, this is why this shit here happened. I kind of, you know, went down on it like that, and it just scraped the lump of plastic that was there, and that shit happened. It's kind of annoying because, you know, obviously it is like a sore thumb. You can like notice it from far, especially, you know, when you're a collector. You just, you know, pay attention to every little detail. But, you know, it could be worse. I just do recommend to be careful. Don't move the diaphragm cut crazy. But, you know, he does have a good range of movement. Nothing too crazy. He does go forward. Basically nothing, you know, not too much. He does go back that much. He does not have a waist swivel, even though it does look like it, which is kind of stupid. If you're gonna re-release a body, at least add some articulation to it. I mean, obviously they could have done it, chose not to, so that's kind of lazy from Hasbro right there, not gonna lie. The legs, I mean, we have some spread action here. It does spread apart that much. He does kick up that far, which is not awful. By the way, be careful. This is from a Build-A-Figure. You do not want to, you know, push it up too far. It will pop off. He, you know, does have the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, which is good for the big guy here. And he does swivel on the lower part of his calf, which is nice. I like how he swivels there on the upper feet right there. And he does, his foot does go down that far and does go up that amount, which isn't bad. It's kind of good right there. It does go down and up. And he does have the ankle pivot. So the Abomination here does have some nice articulation, especially for a big guy. You know, it could be a lot worse, could have less movement, but for how big he is, he does have some, you know, he does have some decent range of articulation. So that's, you know, really good for the Abomination here. But let's go straight to his accessories real quick. Besides the, you know, the sculpt and the paint, which came out really, really nice, his head sculpts that he also comes with are really fucking good, in my opinion. Now, he does come with 2 extra. Obviously, he comes with this one right here, with his mouth open, you know, looking badass and all that. But we also get a more classic version of the Abomination here. You can see the head's more smoother, the ears are different. We just get a more classic looking Abomination here, and I just freaking love this. The paint looks nice. The teeth looks rad too. I love how the teeth came out. The only gripe is that if you can see, the Abomination's head sculpt here does have some greens in the teeth right there, so it was a bit mispainted here, which kind of sucks a little bit, but it's nothing too crazy. But you know, you could still notice it. But I gotta say, this is my favorite head sculpt out of all 3, not gonna lie, even though the teeth paint is a bit off. But really do love how this head sculpt came out. Let's put that on him. Bam, there you go. And holy shit, does that look badass. Really love how this head sculpt came out. Fuck yeah, that looks nice. And here we have the third, which is my second favorite head sculpt out of all 3, which does put this one in third, which doesn't make this one bad, you know, by any means. This freaking head sculpt looks really nice, but come on, we get this head sculpt too, which takes place in the Immortal Hulk comics. What? That's badass. I fuck with this a lot. I'm glad Hasbro did this. I mean, I thought we wouldn't ever get like a Abomination based off the Immortal Hulk comics, but it is good that we get to have Abomination that comes with the head sculpts of the Immortal Hulk comics. Like, this is badass. Look at that, man. Look how gruesome and horrific that shit looks. Because, you know, Immortal Hulk was a fucking horror story. So seeing this head sculpt here looks really freaking nice. If you guys don't know the backstory of this, you know, some scientists, you know, had the dead corpse of the Abomination and they like fused them together, and then they made this whole new fucking Abomination here. So that's freaking badass. So we have that. And yeah, those were his 3 head sculpts. Now, here comes my biggest fucking complaint about this figure. Now, we're going to talk about that while we have my favorite head sculpt on real quick. Let me just put the head sculpt on here. Hell yeah. Now, My biggest fucking complaint about this guy is that we all know this guy is known for one thing, and that's fucking scrapping with the Hulk. You telling me you re-release this figure, I mean, the paint's nice, the sculpt's not awful, the head sculpt that comes with it looks really badass, but you re-release something and you made it, kind of pricey, and you couldn't give us fists? Really? You could have gave us at least a pair of fists for somebody that's known to scrap with the Hulk, and you couldn't give us fists? Come on, bro. Now that's lazy from Hasbro. All the they could use, they can reuse a body once in a blue or whatever the fuck, but come on, if you're gonna bring something back and you're gonna raise the prices, you could have at least gave us a pair of fists with this guy. Here now we got Abomination here with just open hands. You know what I'm saying? We could have gotten a little more. We could have gotten some fists with this guy. I think that's my biggest gripe with this figure, is that somebody that's known to punch shit and punch the Hulk in the fucking face doesn't come with fists. That right there is hella annoying for me. I don't know about everybody else that has this figure, but the fact that he doesn't come with fists, like, really, really, really bothers the hell out of me. But it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? At least, the paint, the sculpt isn't awful. The head sculpts we get with it isn't bad at all. I really fuck with them a lot, especially this one right here. So I'm not completely disappointed, but like I said, there could have been things that could have made this guy better for sure. But I'm not that disappointed for what we got, So yeah, with that said, I mean, let's, bring out some figures real quick to do some quick size comparisons for the Abomination here, and we'll end it there. So I'll be right back. All right, so here we have the Abomination standing as he, as straight as he possibly can for the size comparisons. And to start it off, here he is next to the brown suited Wolverine from the 2-pack with Storm. And here he is next to the Maximum series Deadpool. And if you can tell, he's fucking huge, standing next to the regular 6-inch figures right there. So he definitely got some serious size to him. If you can tell, like, besides the Avengers Abomination, every other Abomination they came out with, in my opinion, just fell too short. So it is nice to see a classic, more looking Abomination with more size to him. So that's amazing to see. So I love to see that. And here's the Abomination next to some other villains and slightly bigger characters as well. Here he is next to the Marvel Legends Super Skrull and the Marvel Legends 2-pack Sabretooth, and even next to these guys that are slightly bigger figures, and Abomination just makes them look super tiny, and I love that. So here he is next to these two guys. And to see him next to some other heroes, here he is next to Spider-Man and the Mighty Thor. And last but not least, here we have the Abomination next to the Marvel Legends Hulkbuster and the Marvel Legends Maximum Series Hulk. And I just have to say, he looks amazing next to these guys. The Hulkbuster, he looks amazing next to, but let's take the Hulkbuster out of the way real quick. And let's put these two guys right next to each other. I really love how they look. Obviously, my Hulk here got a different head sculpt. Like mine's, custom. But him next to this Maximum series, I love the way they're sized up together. Obviously, Abomination always has to be bigger than the Incredible Hulk. Finally, we get a classic-looking Abomination that's, bigger than any other Hulk figure from Hasbro. Because, like I said, Hasbro gave us a lot of Abominations. Not a lot, but every time they give us one, it's, like, super short and doesn't match well with the Hulk figures. But finally we have a Abomination that stands up perfectly with the Hulk figures, and that's amazing to see. So I love how these two faces up, face to face. Obviously, that's how it's supposed to be. Abomination always towering over the Hulk. But yeah, with that said, that was my review of the Marvel Legends Incredible Hulk series Abomination. Obviously, it's 50-50. It depends how you feel about the figure. I mean, personally, for me, I like it. I love to have it in my collection. He's gonna look amazing in my shelves next to my Hulk here, facing face to face and all that, and next to the other villains. There were some gripes, but I don't think the gripes aren't, that horrible to pass on this guy. I mean, yeah, they reused the body, but the body's not horrible. It's good. It's not horrible. I like it. It matches well for the Abomination. The only big downfall I have about this figure is that he doesn't come with any fists. I already explained how that bugged the shit out of me. But besides that, articulation, sculpt, and paint, I mean, it looks fine. It looks great for this figure. I don't have that many complaints besides the fists, and that, they could have used a different body, but for what we got, it isn't horrible. But yeah, that was my review of this guy. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.